Day YouTube. This is just a bit of a fun comparison video between Endeavous OS on the left and Ubuntu 20.10 on the right, so grab your stein of coffee and let's get started. Okay, so starting off on the left hand side we have Endeavous OS, whereas on the right hand side we've got Ubuntu 20.10, so both the latest releases there. And getting into it, the Endeavous OS here is actually based on Arch, so Arch Linux there, whereas Ubuntu is in fact based on Debian there. So the Arch-based Endeavous OS is actually a rolling release, always updated there, whereas Ubuntu has more of a point release system, updated, big release version updates every 6 months or so there. The desktop environments are a little bit different now. They are both the default desktop environments, but it is a little bit apples to oranges going on here. So on the left-hand side, we've got the nice and lightweight, although a little bit older looking XFCE desktop environment there. Whereas on the right-hand side, for Ubuntu, we have the Ubuntu stylized GNOME desktop environment there, so it's quite nice. I use it as my main daily driver, but it is what it is. Nothing's perfect. And moving on, if we were to have a look at the file manager, so on the left hand side we've got a nice lightweight Thuna file manager there for Endeavour, whereas on the right hand side, if I can pull it up, we've got the GNOME files, which is pretty common for any GNOME desktop environment Linux distro there. Now moving on, let's have a look at the kernel. So the kernel for the Arch-based Endeavous OS is actually quite nice in terms of being more of the latest and greatest style. So it's kernel version 5.11, whereas Ubuntu is a little bit more, let's call it a little bit more stable and therefore older there, or vice versa, and it's actually running on the 5.8 kernel there. And last but not least would be having a look at the CPU and the RAM usage. So the CPU for both fairly idling. Now I will say that both of these operating systems have been booted up from scratch, so there's nothing really loaded in the background. Of course, that is to say for the operating system itself, but the RAM usage on Endeavous OS is actually 388 megabytes of RAM right on boot up, which is really fantastic. Whereas Ubuntu, as you might expect, a bit of a more heavyweight desktop environment there with all the things that it's got going on, was sitting at 750 megabytes of RAM or so. So effectively double, I would say, but it is what it is yet again. But that's pretty much it, guys. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that like button, and I do hope to see you guys there in the next one. Cheers.